Okay, we're now live. All right, guys. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a glitch there. Um, yeah.
A fearless leader. You like that. Keep it to Gold Star Sweet Tea when you're checking in live on Bengal Jim and Friends. Nothing else.
Because he's an admin, when he jumped on, he saw the end. So I think when he went to close, he hit end, not realizing it would actually end the broadcast for us. But it happens. It's all good.
All right.
It's the internet, man. That's what happens.
So there we are. Yeah, we got to see Bengal Jim. Lucky us tonight. But no, Tony, what charities do you have coming up?
Yeah.
So the next tailgate's actually going to be the Javante Woods Foundation. So we're working out the details there. Those that joined us last year, that was pretty good. Icky joined us. So I'm pretty sure that's the next one that we're working on. And then I'm also working on a duck race. We'll have a duck race here in a week or two too. We'll be announcing that shortly.
Pretty healthy.
What's that?
Pretty healthy chance we'll get to see Icky at the tailgate.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. He'll be there to take pictures with folks and that kind of thing. And then I do want to mention that, on our bye week, I think we got a graphic for it, is our foaling tournament that we have coming up at the Cincinnati Foaling Warehouse. That's going to be a fun time.
Hey, is that it? I found it.
That's the cornhole one, but we changed
it. Man, come on.
Yeah, we changed it to foaling, but it's the same concept.
Oh, same thing? Okay, just pretend that it says foaling.
Yeah, we'll just make believe. We've been doing that already. Jimmy ended us already, so.
Yeah, the Foaling Warehouse is the same place where Sam Hubbard has his.
It is, yep, exactly, yep. Same concept. We're going to do a tournament. You can max out at 64 teams. We're hoping to get 32 teams. Again, it's just time to get it together, do some charity work for the league, league for a fair for the animal shelter. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to have some raffles, some silent auction things. Got some really great prizes for the winners.
Brandon's saying bring $20, get a picture with Icky.
Potentially, yeah. Who knows?
All right. Oops. Sorry. See, I'm not aware of these things. I don't live in Cincinnati, guys. So.
Yeah. What we did for for that last year is if you bought a raffle ticket, he accepted the raffle card as your way to get a picture with him. So we'll probably do the same thing.
Perfect. I kind of feel like I just All right, cool. And
breaking.
Thankfully, nobody put in the comments that Joe Burrow will be there, because I'd probably put that on the screen and then you just saw it out. Tom, you will need to send a new link to.
We need to contact our glorious leader. He has the wherewithal to do that.
You want to text Jimmy and let him know?
I've already contacted him. Maybe you ought to contact him.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Tony, one thing I did want to ask is, it seemed like I've never seen a line that long to buy the raffle tickets. Is that the most raffle tickets we've ever sold?
Yeah, that was for the tailgate. For 3.5 hours, we sold almost 4 decks of cards, which is a record for us. So it was a phenomenal turnout. And, and I had my wife, Carrie, she was selling the tickets. Jimmy even had to help sell the tickets. And we had a couple other volunteers, CJ, and then Sarah from Gold Star. We had a lot of volunteers helping us out. So it was really good. And, the best thing about that, too, is Jimmy and Robin showed up as well. They were about 11:30 and picked the winners for us. So it was really good to have them in the crowd and help support their charity. So
awesome.
Thank you, Jamie. Right. Moving on from the tailgate, though, and going across the street, Jamie, while you were monitoring from your man cave in Canada,
yes.
What did you think from opening kickoff on?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? This team looks really good. What I'm most impressed about, guys, is the second half play of our defense. Like, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I don't think we've given up a touchdown in 4 games in the second half? Is it 4 or 5?
Entire season.
Yeah, they haven't done it yet.
Dude, the entire season. See,
even going back to last season, I think there's even a record.
Absolutely insane. So I'm excited. I think I said on the show a couple weeks ago when I was on, this stretch of games before the bye are winnable games for us. I think we're going to beat the Browns obviously on Monday, and then we go right into Carolina, and then we go into the bye, I believe, right after that. So I think we have a really good chance of going to the bye, being top of the AFC North, and then what I'm a little disappointed about is seeing the Ravens schedule the rest of the way. So, but hey, all we can focus on is what we can control, and what we can control is the schedule that the NFL has given us. So,
Mark, what did you see on Sunday? Sorry, Tony.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, that was amazing. I mean, from the few home games we feel like we've had, the barely any. It seems like we've started so slowly, especially with the Pittsburgh game, and then even the Thursday night. But I mean, where I sit is in the south end zone, right across from 158. So on the when we threw that pass to Boyd, it was like he even looked open from where we were sitting, and it was just a perfect dime. And then, I mean, I think we sang that touchdown song all day yesterday. It was amazing.
Tony?
So I think this is what we needed. We needed to come out strong, put the pedal to the metal, and not let it up on it. And I think we did that. And I think it shows what our team is and what it can be and what we expect them to be. I think this is the beginning of a winning streak for us.
Yeah, clearly the passing game was firing on all cylinders. And while there's been some differences in the competition, I really like not holding my breath every time Joe Burrow goes back to pass. I think the pass protection has really come together. Certainly, we're going to talk with Mike about this. To get all the Pistons firing, we need to get the running game going to take a little bit of the heat off that and let everybody do their thing. But along, with the 3 big days for the wide receivers, we almost had 3 guys with 100 yards. In the first time since 1990 that would have happened.
Yeah, 7 yards short for T. 7 yards, yeah.
Yeah, the officials messed up that call. He did have that ball going out of bounds, but neither here nor there. But, such a monstrous day for Tyler Boyd, the best slot receiver in the league. Jamar doing his incredible stuff, and then T, is showing the all-pro caliber receiver he is. But the other aspect of that, and I can't take credit for this, and I can't remember who first said it on Twitter, but Hayden Hurst is really becoming an important security blanket for Joe Burrow and an important part of moving the chains. And I love the saying Hurst for the first. I'm surprised Cincy Shirts hasn't already made a T-shirt. And, if you use his face, make him look like him. But they really need to get on. They're missing the boat there. And Hayden does have his own charitable foundation. So another good look for there. But yeah, the offense is firing on all cylinders, and the defense. I mean, I saw a piece on the Dolphins the other night. Talk about the no names that are getting no credit from the national media. If you go 7 games, I don't care who you've played, you have not given up a second half touchdown. We should be better than 4-3. So Lou Anarumo and the entire defense, kudos, and hopefully we can get Logan Wilson back. And I don't think we're going to get DJ Reader back, unfortunately, when we play the Lake Erie Elves this Monday.
So Greg put a thing up in the chat here. Hayden Hurst, $3.5 million. CJ Uzama, $1.8 million. I think we made the right decision.
Duke Tobin.
Yes. A couple things, just again, a programming note. We did get disconnected. We are back online now. Facebook commenting is down. So if you are watching live and you want to comment, have a chance to put your comment on the screen or for have us see what you're saying during the show, hop over to YouTube stream, because YouTube, the chat's working on YouTube, but Facebook's down for all live videos. So not just our show, all live videos. So just a heads up on that. Just going through the chat here, guys. I'm seeing a couple comments. Does Hayden Hurst have a foundation, Tony? Do you know?
I do not, but I am definitely going to look into it. Tom says he does, so I'm going to go with Tom.
He does. We tried to get in touch with him during the off season, right after we signed him, and unfortunately did not hear back from them. But he does have a foundation. I know he is very hands-on with it, and we're going to keep trying to get in touch with him. But yes, he does.
All right. Greg says the offense is awake, and we can all agree on that.
I have to make a quick shout out to Akeem Adeniji, who stepped in for some period of the game, and you really couldn't tell. We didn't say I wasn't hearing the broadcast, but it didn't look like we missed skipped a beat with him being in there. So
Mark, that's a fantastic point. Lapp was talking about that in the locker room. And for a guy that took a lot of heat in the preseason, he did his job. He stepped in when it was needed, and no pressure on his side for Joe Burrow.
So Hayden Hurst does have a mental health related foundation, but I know you guys know that, so we're going to figure that out. Lou Anarumo is a future head coach. Just hey, man, this is where our defense is starting to click, dude. Come on.
Yeah, not yet. We need him a couple more years.
If the national media isn't going to talk about us when we're good, don't bring up guys we want to keep. So just leave us alone.
Andrew was asking when I'm coming down again. Bills for sure. The Bills game for sure. I'm going to be in Cincinnati for New Year's Eve. I'm hoping to come down for the Chiefs. Game. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Do you guys want to hop into On the Mark?
Let's do it.
Right. We're still waiting for our guests to connect. Mark, you want to intro this video? You want to talk about it after?
I'll intro it. So it was another fantastic week. This week we started out again at the Bengals pep rally. This time we were at the location in Mount Healthy. And then we basically just have some videos of the tailgate, which was a blast. It seemed like a huge crowd. I just want to thank everyone who bought the Untamed T-shirts. Felt like I was at the booth all day selling T-shirts. So I want to say thank you to that. And it was just a great win. It was a great Sunday. The weather was absolutely gorgeous, and we had a great time at Gold Star. So we can roll the footage.
All right, here we go.
Good job. You guys know how to do it. Good job.
Back at it once again. In a few hours, complete pandemonium. Hooray!
that Tony the Tiger and Bengal Jim were as famous as Joe Burrow. So I appreciate it. And I've met them, and now we have a chance to do this today.
All right, there we are. Cool,
What a day!
Well, I think I saw our friend Andrew line dancing in that video there. I missed the line dancing tailgate apparently.
Yeah, that DJ was awesome. She was really good. Got the crowd engaged, so it was fun to have her there. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Also, I want to do a couple of shout outs real quick.
Sure.
There's a guy named Tom McDowell. He's from London. I think he's been a fan for almost 20 years. It was his first time in. So I was going to say congratulations to him. I'm so glad he got to see a win. And then also Scott, I believe he had been here 8 previous times, and we had lost all 8 games, or drew 1 and lost 7. So he also got to see that. So super excited for those guys, especially. And then also the people from, a few people from all over Germany, I believe. Someone was from Alaska, I think it was. So it was a great day.
It is interesting as someone who doesn't come to all the games, how you sort of, when you go to the game and you win, and you go again, they win, and you go again, they win, you kind of feel like you're good luck. And then when you go to 3 losses in a row, you feel like you shouldn't go anymore. You guys go to all the games, so it's kind of hard to have that feeling. But when you're only able to come to a few of the games, Mark, because Jimmy's not on and you're on, I have a question to ask you. Are you watching this show?
I am not. I have not started watching that.
Dude, if you guys, I know we know a lot of soccer fans, and I know Jimmy hates soccer. But it's kickball. It doesn't matter what you feel about soccer. You got to watch that show. It is really good. Really good. It's about what's his name? Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from this Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They bought a National League team that was going to go under, and then they're trying to get them up to the Premier League, obviously, which could take a long time to do, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So our guest because we got disconnected, our guest may have the old link. We are trying to get in touch with our guest to get him the new link. I apologize if he's trying to log in and can't get on. It's because we had to change the stream mid-show. So we might be a little bit delayed on having our guest on, Mr. Tardis.
Mike Dardis, yeah.
Dardis.
The one thing from Mark's video, you're in Canada, Jimmy. You get a pass. But Mark, Tony, one thing, everybody knows the Cincinnati crowd. The Bengals did lay it on the Falcons this weekend, and something from Mark's video there at the end where it said Bengals win. Did you notice the stands were still full? Nobody left early.
Yep.
Nobody left early. The game had not been in doubt for at least a quarter. Nobody was worried about getting to the parking lot to get out first. Everybody wanted to stay and, feel the good vibes.
Yeah, that's true. And just to see the stadium not being empty at all for any of the games, that's a great feeling too. From the start to finish, like you're saying, that's the fans are there and they're here to support. So it was really good to see that.
One thing I want to mention before we forget, next week's episode, guys, we were talking before we went on the air. One of our favorite episodes that we've ever done in the 3 years of doing Talking Football with Bengal Jim was our fan episode. That's where the episode where you, the fan, the viewer, were the guest of our show. So stay tuned for that next week. We're going to throw out a link. We're going to go live. We're going to put a link out, and we can have up to 10 people in our waiting room at a time. So we're going to invite the fans to come on, and we want to hear your thoughts on this Bengals team, where you feel we are kind of at the halfway mark, what your predictions are for the rest of the year, what you like, what you don't like. And maybe we'll throw a little charity aspect in there too, and discuss what charity that you'd like to see us support through our charitable charitable initiatives. And our guest is logging in, Tom. Mike's in the waiting room. Thank you, Mike. We're right with you. Tom, do you want to give an intro to Mr. Dardis?
I will. He is co-anchor of Cincinnati's top newscast, WLWT Channel 5 here in Cincinnati. But not only is he a news guy, he was early in his career a sports anchor, hosted NFL coaching shows in another market, and also an NFL sideline reporter. And I believe one of the coolest aspects of his job, I don't know if it just comes with it or he had it put in his contract, he gets to hang out on the job and talk sports with George Vogel. So a big, big welcome and appreciate it on a very busy night for him. Welcome to Mike Dardis from WLWT Channel 5.
Well, thanks a lot, guys, first of all. And I used to be a sports guy back in the day. And so you're right. I go hang out with Vogel all the time. And anytime I can talk sports, it's a win. I mean, sometimes I'm stuck by myself watching the Bengals game. And what fun is that? I mean, you got to be able to second guess calls and predict the next play and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks for
thank you for making the time.
Sorry, no
Tom, go ahead, bud.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah.
You know, we're fans, we're diehards. You've been in different markets, and we're going to go to the past before we deal with the present and the future. From the different markets you've been in and the teams you've covered, did you ever see anything as, maybe a little unexpected from the beginning of the year, but is it exciting as the road to the Super Bowl last year and a fan base is energized?
It's hard to top with what you guys have been through the last 30 years. I was in Philly, and I think, I don't want to be a jinx, but every place I leave, they end up going to the Super Bowl and winning it. When I was in Philly, they hadn't won a Super Bowl ever. And I left Philadelphia in 2004. And then, of course, they won a Super Bowl. They beat the Patriots a few years back. Then I went to Seattle, and in 2005, they went to the Super Bowl against the Steelers, and the Steelers and the referees beat them in that game. And then I leave Seattle, and they win a Super Bowl. So I'm hoping that the Bengals can win one while I'm here. But no, I mean, 30 years of cheap ownership, and things have changed, of course, for the better, and we're loving that. Making wrong decisions, but now what they've done the last 2 or 3 years has been magical. And Joe Burrow was the beginning of it, and then the free agency, and thank God they grabbed Jamar Chase when everybody said he was going to be a generational receiver. You know, they were talking about maybe go offensive line. No, you can get an offensive lineman in the first or second round. You can't get Jamar Chase. So I'm glad they got him. That's a big part of this.
That is true. Mike, we have a comment here from Sherry saying, thank you for letting Mike talk sports with you so he can leave me alone.
Oh.
See what they do?
Shots fired, eh?
Wives need you. You know, you're right there. But then when you're in the other room, they throw you under the bus like that. No, I actually watched the game. She's a huge fan. I watched the game with her Sunday, and she's pretty knowledgeable. But it's funny. Sometimes she'll jump around about something, and I'll say, there was a penalty on that play. Don't worry about it, you know. But no, she loves the Bengals. She's a Cincinnati girl, and we went out to the Super Bowl together. And here's a true story. We had the game on NBC, so it was a huge deal for us. We sent a whole crew of 7, 8, 10 people out there. And after the game, after NBC's done handing it off, we get an hour-and-a-half post-game show. Big difference between a win or a loss. But anyway, we're coming out of the stadium there at SoFi. And we just watched the end of the game, and we're walking down to our location, which was right, you know, out in front of that beautiful stadium. And I lose Cherie in the crowd, like for a second. And I turn around and I look, I'm like, where is she? She's doubled over crying that the Bengals had lost. That's how much this team means to these fans. And I mean, doing a 90-minute post-game show after a loss like that, that was tough. That was tough.
I'm a lot older than your wife, and she was not the only one. So
yeah,
Tony?
I think we all cried a few tears that day. It's hard. That was a hard one for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. One of the things I like about you is you're very blunt. You give us the good and you give us the bad about the team. So what do you think about this past Sunday? Do you think this is the team that we need to have right now? Is this the game that brings us continues our winning streak for the next few games?
Yeah, since we have a little bit of time, I'm going to get to that. But I got to say, Tony, you have no idea what kind of a cult following you have in our newsroom. Because it's only the last couple of years that I've learned about you, and I've been in this market 11 or 12 years, and I'm making my home here forever. But we all follow you on Twitter now. We're all looking to see which hype video you do before the game, what time you're going to arrive at the stadium there in the dark. So I just want you to know, whether you know it or not, you got a cult following in the newsroom. That's first of all. But secondly, yeah, I mean, the last game and a half, the last 5 quarters, it's like you just you exhale and you say, finally. It was a little odd. I was a little bit worried after that Ravens game, not the loss. I mean, they almost won the game, but in the post game, when they're talking about if teams play us with that 2 deep zone, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. And I was like, are you kidding me? You watch the Bills offense, you watch the Chiefs offense with that RPO stuff, the shotgun stuff, and how quickly the quarterback gets it out of there. I'm thinking, are we giving up after this Ravens game? I was really nervous. I was really, positive about it and feeling good about it until that post game after the Ravens game. I started feeling like, wow, are we throwing in the towel? But no, this last game was awesome to watch. Not only was Joe Burrow on the money, but all the receivers, getting into the act. 2 guys over 100 yards, T. Higgins with 93. The defense with guys injured stepping up. It's still not allowing a touchdown in the second half. If the Bengals make a run, I think this is the game you point to that really got him over the hump. Obviously, a week ago they needed that win, but this one really got him over the hump. And now you go to Cleveland and you're on the road, a Monday Night Football, 0-4 the last 4 games against the Browns. And this is the one that this would be a typical Cincinnati, if you lose a game like this after you got everything rolling. But I don't think it's going to be typical Cincinnati. I think it's the Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, and rest of the team that you've seen in the last season and a half. And I really feel good about this game on Monday Night Football.
I agree with you. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah, 100%. We got a user question from one of our viewers that watches every week, and he admits this might be not a fair question to ask right now, but he's asking you, do you consider Burrow the best Bengals QB of all time in franchise history? Too soon?
I don't think it's ever too soon to do comparisons, because I think that's what sports is all about, is to have fun and compare. Not that I needed to be a rocket scientist to say this, but I mean, the whole last season, half a season at LSU, I mean, if you look back at all my tweets, all season, I'm like, please, get this guy. My dad, I'm in my mid-50s now, I've been a football fan my entire life. Love the game. I think it's the ultimate team sport. I think it just, not even a comparison to football with these other sports. And my dad always used to say, as simple as it is he's like, son, and he's no longer with us. He passed away years ago, but he said, son, it's a game of quarterbacks. He used to always say that, like, if you don't have one, you're not going to win. And if you look at all the Super Bowls over the years, I mean, other than the Ravens 1 year without a quarterback, and maybe the Redskins when they were the Redskins 1 year with Doug Williams, who had a great game but wasn't really that great that year. I mean, you can't really point to a lot of Super Bowls where a team won it without a good quarterback. And I just think Joe Burrow has those intangibles. He's so accurate. He's such a leader, a quiet leader. And obviously you see some of these hothead quarterbacks who get it done. Tom Brady's a hothead kind of, quarterback where he yells at receivers and that sort of thing. But this guy doesn't scream and yell at the players. He doesn't show them up. He's the ultimate team guy. People respect the heck out of him. They want to play for him. Free agents want to come to this town to play for him. It's hard to knock Kenny Anderson on the field for what he did. And Cincinnati's to love him or hate him when it comes to Carson Palmer. Obviously, he put up numbers that are pretty much almost Hall of Fame numbers over his career, but there's so many diehards who still do not like Carson Palmer. I think this kid's the All-American boy. I mean, he's got everything going for him, and I think he's definitely got the potential to be the best of all time, better than Boomer. Boomer had those 2 good years, really good years. But if you look back at his other years, they weren't the greatest. I mean, he had those 2 awesome years. So, yeah, I think I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow, and I do think he could be the best of all time here in Cincinnati.
All very good points. Tom?
Mike, you touched a little bit on the present, but looking at this year so far, certainly we've had a lot to be excited about, and great teams find a way to win when they haven't played well. Yeah. I'm still of the opinion, including last year, they have not played a complete 60-minute game, both sides of the ball, all 3 sides of the ball, I guess you could say, playing their best. what would you like to see changed going forward these last 10 games?
Well, yeah, you said it. I mean, the margin of error in the NFL is razor thin. I mean, you look at the Bills, who are probably the best team in football right now, and they've only got one loss. They were just on their bye. But 2 of their games they pulled out. The Ravens, they were down 17 on the road or whatever and end up winning by 3. The Chiefs game, they pull it out with this perfect pass in the end zone at the end. So all of these teams, I mean, the Bengals could be undefeated, frankly. Obviously 3 losses on the last play of the game. What I'd like to see is what you saw a little bit of in this last game, which is that killer instinct at the end. I love, I love going for it on 4th down when it's 4th and 1. They didn't use the quarterback sneak ever until the Ravens game. I'm like, Tom Brady made a living of like 4th and a half a yard getting the first down. The snap count, or you can do a silent count and pick up a half a yard. And they finally started doing some of these things. I think sometimes, like, for example, there was a play in this last game. It was maybe 4th and 1 where they didn't get it, where they're throwing the ball 15 yards down the field. It's not that hard. I just think sometimes the Bengals outthink themselves. And I would just like to see more of a killer instinct mentality where on key plays down the stretch, you have a formula to get exactly what you need to keep a drive alive. And it makes perfect sense. Like, you guys watch football all the time. I don't know if you saw the Raiders Chiefs game Monday night game recently, where the Raiders are running the ball at 8 yards a clip. Jacobs is running the ball at 8 yards a clip. Then at the end of the game, they have the ball like 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 with plenty of time, and they throw the ball like 50 yards on the field. It's just sometimes the way NFL coaches handle the clock at the end of a game or at the end of a half, or some of the decisions at the end of a game are just astounding. So I think I just like to see the killer instinct at the end of the game and just the right play call at the right time. So many times it just feels like, why did they do that when they only needed this? Or why did they do that? Or why don't they blitz more when it was effective the last play? Now, you can't argue with these coaches and what they've done the last year, but I think just the killer instinct to put a game away, like the Jets game at the end of the game where they just ran the darn clock out. And in this game at the end where they just took it right down the field from inside their own 5 all the way to the other, 2-yard line at the end.
So one of the things that people are mentioning in the comments here, there's a couple comments about it, asking your opinion on the play calling. It's something that we've talked about ever since Zach Taylor's been here. Some weeks you want to crown him as the best play caller in the NFL, and other weeks you just want to go like, what the heck was that? So what's your thoughts on Zach Taylor's play calling, if it indeed is Zach Taylor calling the plays? Because
it's definitely a curious one because Joe Burrow is so quiet. You don't always get an idea what that relationship is. It seems like he loves the guy. I mean, he does seem like Joe loves playing for Zach Taylor. He says it all the time. He always, when they were losing so badly those first couple of years, he was in the Zach Taylor corner the entire time, never wavered. But a couple of times this year when things weren't going well, I got the sense that something was a little off between the two of them with the play calling. And then all of a sudden they come out with that shotgun RPO thing. And it's like, right. It's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel sometimes. You're watching the Chiefs play. You're watching the Bills play. It's like, well, Bengals have as much talent, if not more, on offense. Why don't they do that? Teams aren't stopping them. I don't know. I mean, I think they were just too predictable in the first 4 or 5 games of the year, running on running downs, passing on passing downs, making it easy for the other team to tee off. Sometimes, the Philly special against the Ravens when you're on the 2-yard line. I mean, I get that in a certain situation, but I mean, come on. I mean, pound the rock a little bit there. You're down 1st and goal with a chance to go up by, more than a field goal there. And the play calling there was just, to me, that might've been a tipping point, that series right there, where after that game, maybe they had to come to Jesus, talked a little bit about like, what are we doing moving forward? But yeah. I don't know whose fault it was, but it just wasn't the right thing. So instead of looking back, let's look forward and say, whatever they're doing the last 5 or 6 quarters, let's keep doing that for the last 10 games of the year.
Jamie brought up earlier in our show, and it's you get the schedule you get, but the Ravens, it would be a cupcake schedule for a high school team, a GCL team. They do not play a team with a winning record till the final week of the season when they play us.
Yeah.
Starting right after Thanksgiving, and we have no gimmies before then, but after Thanksgiving, it's a meat grinder through the rest of the year. What are you looking at to not only win the division, but to make the playoffs again this year?
Well, I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think, I believe they're going to be 6-3 at the bye, which is good.
Yep.
I don't have the schedule in front of me, but obviously we know who they play for the most part. I know they played the Chiefs, and then I know on the Bills on the last Monday night and that sort of thing. And hopefully that last game doesn't even matter at that point, I hope. But I don't know. I think that they have to win all of their divisional games from here on out. I mean, obviously, I think the Steelers game is the one that you look at that you just shake your head with the 5 turnovers and the 4 picks and the extra point miss, the blocked extra point, and then the bad snap because of the long snapper being out. I mean, that's the one you just shake your head about and wish you had over. I think that they're going to, knock them all over the place the next time they play them. I think they're going to beat the Ravens when they play them. They gotta sweep the Browns. I mean, that's the bottom line, and win these games. And then, Tampa Bay, I thought early in the year, you're looking at that game, you're thinking it's pretty scary. But then you're looking at Tampa Bay this last Sunday losing 21-3 to Carolina. And who knows? I mean, maybe the whole personal thing with Tom Brady and the fact that 45 might finally be catching up with him. I don't know. But the only game that really the 2 games that really scare me are the Chiefs and the Bills. And boy, wouldn't it be nice to win that Chiefs game at home and beat them 3 in a row. But I don't know. I do believe that they're going to win their division. I think they're going to sweep the division the rest of the way. And then, maybe they'll have a slip up here or slip up there. But I think I have a feeling they're going to win the division and make the playoffs. And I think that at this point we should be thinking 2 or 3 seed instead of 4 like last year. I mean, the West is kind of up in the air and teams are beating each other. And the Titans division, I mean, that's all over the place too. I think 2 or 3 seeds not out of the question.
As long as the Ravens keep going for it on 4th down with the game of the line and not converting, we should take the division. So.
And people get mad. One of the lightning rod topics, when I get out Sundays, I love tweeting football during the Bengals game. There are so many Lamar fans who get fired up at me because if you look at his numbers, he is not a big game quarterback at all. In his last 4 or 5 playoff games, his quarterback rating is something like a 60 or 55 or something like that. And I always point that out. And Ravens didn't beat the Bengals that night because of Lamar, by the way. I mean, he overthrew a guy by about 10 yards who was open by 10 yards for a touchdown. And he kept the Bengals in the game as poorly as they played. So I think as long as, you're talking about big game Lamar. I mean, I think Joe Burrow is not Lamar when it comes to big games. He steps up in the big games. So I think that's the difference.
100%.
Talking about the team and shifted gears a little bit, what do you think about the front office and what have they done to make this team what it is today?
I think it's exciting. I mean, last year, I think we all scratched our heads and said, what just happened? They went out and signed a bunch of free agents. That's crazy. And then you're kind of just waiting as a normal fan this past offseason saying, wouldn't it be nice if they did it again? Like, wouldn't it be nice if they addressed some of their needs and did it again? And they did it again. And then the way they got Collins there at the end was so interesting. The way that, he's out in the market. Thank you. He's out in the market making $10 million a year in Dallas, and he could have gone to a lot of different places. And he's had his troubles here, obviously. He hasn't been perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still an improvement on the line from what they had in that spot last year. I think it's been excellent. I think from social media to the coaches' locker room speeches to the way they're including you guys like Tony and Bengal Jim and the way they're making them feel like part of the franchise again, like for years they didn't, to the tailgate experience down there where they were shutting people out and now they're bringing people back in who have been 2 or 3 decades season ticket holders. They're making them feel wanted. The whole Ring of Honor thing and then the little ceremony before the game, everything they're doing is right. And I think it's exciting to be a part of this indoor practice facility. I mean, if you just woke up out of a cave, you were like in a long sleep in a cave or something for the last year and a half, you'd wake up and say, there's no way this is the Bengals franchise. There's no way. They've done a complete 180, and I think it bodes well for all of our future following the Bengals and following a successful franchise.
I got one more quick question before Tom wraps up. Donovan asks, Mike, what are you guys leading the 11 p.m. news with tonight?
That might be Donovan from in our newsroom who's just trying to play tricks. But I would say, A, the fact that I was on the Bengal Jim and Friends podcast.
There we go.
But B, there was some dude, just to speak plainly, some dude causing trouble at the banks recently. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, naked dude. Saw that.
In front of Holy Grail, causing all kinds of damage. Got kicked out of the place. Bouncer told him to leave. Guy made the mistake of coming back. Bouncer kind of bounced his head off the table out in front of Holy Grail, and so now that's kind of the viral video that everybody's talking about. We're kind of getting to the bottom of that story, and then there's all kinds of other things that just I don't want to bore you with the football audience watching. We don't want to scare you with some of the bad things that are happening.
Mike, a couple things wrapping up. One, in terms of the gentleman there at the banks, Bengal Jim's in Asheville tonight, so there won't be any more incidents, at least tonight, of that. Thank you so much. Thank you for saving our show tonight. And a couple of messages. One, please say hi to Lonesome George Vogel for us. And will you please come back on either this season or in the off season?
I would love to come back on, especially because Bengal Jim lures me in and then he ditches me at the last. But I guess business trips and paying for all those Bengals trips. There he is. Love it. I love it. I guess he's got to pay for these Bengals tailgates and Bengals trips somehow. So you got to work. You got to keep working if you're going to have an expensive habit on the side like this. Vogel's on the other side of this wall here. So I'll say hi to him on my way out. I'll say hi to Cherie, Kevin Robinson, and the gang. And again, Tony, I'm expecting a really quality video prior to the game this week. The Let's Go video is classic, with all the changing outfits, and that's good stuff, Tony. So I'm expecting something really big. Like, it's got to be big this Sunday.
That's right. We're going up to the team up north, so we'll make sure it's good.
No, it's Monday. Then why did I say Sunday? We'll do it both.
We'll make the video Sunday.
Yeah, do it both days, Sunday and Monday.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, later. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Awesome.
Mike, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Night.
All right, guys. Fantastic. You know what it's time for.
Preview. This is the 2-minute warning.
Hey, folks. It's time for the 2-minute warning.
There we go. All right, Mark, we're going to start with you, boss.
All right. I just want to say, how awesome the game was Sunday. And, a lot is made of Zach Taylor and all this play calling. But I will say that no matter what, and besides Joe Burrow, one of the big reasons I have faith in this team is the fact of how we adjust. When I think of all the things that I didn't like under the previous regime, it felt like we started good and then we faded in the second half. We are the complete opposite of that now. We may start slow, but the team constantly adjusts and we play better in the second half. We used to always give up points within 2 minutes. Sadly, we did again this Sunday, but we also scored within 2 minutes, which is something I felt we never did. And I appreciate the fact that the guys learn and they adjust, and I just really looking forward to the rest of the season. And one streak that I'm really looking forward to ending is the 12-game road primetime losing streak that we have going. One of those are Joe Burrow's. 11 of those are Andy Dalton. So sadly, I think it was Joe Burrow's second game ever he played on a night road game in Cleveland, and we lost. So I'm really looking forward to ending that streak. And who day?
All right, Tony.
Just want to say thank you to everyone again for the tailgate, coming out and supporting the Joe Burrow Foundation. It was awesome. Thanks to all the tickets that were getting donated for the kids being able to go to their first games. Keep them coming. I love doing that. It's a great. I love being that facilitator to be able to get them kids to the game. And as Jamie just showed, $64,000 year to date, and we're not even to the bye week. Now we were kidding. Not too long ago, we had a goal of 75,000, and I kept on telling everybody that, we're going to blow that away. It's going to be 100,000. I'm still going for that goal. I think it's something that it's very obtainable for us. And as for the game, what an awesome game. Like I said earlier, we started out strong, finished strong. That's what we need to keep doing for the rest of the season. I think that shows who we are and what we can be. I also want to just mention Gold Star. Don't forget tomorrow. They will be at the Florence location as well, doing the pep rally from 5:30 to 6:30. And for those that are going to go travel to the city up north, we are doing a pregame up there on Monday. It's going to be at the what is that called? The Brew. I had it here. Anybody know what that's called? Butcher and the Brew, I think is what it's called.
I was going to say brouhaha, but it was a wild guess.
Yeah, but we're going to be up there. So if you're joining us up there at the game, please join us there, and we'll get our team ready to get that win. Other than that, Houday.
Tom.
Like that. Again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. There are so many different ways you can spend your time to get your Bengal news. It means so much that you guys will hang out with us every Tuesday night, and especially tonight. And an extra special thank you to the wizard Jamie from Canada, who salvaged and saved the show tonight when we were evilly sabotaged. But that's in the past, and we go forward. But no, we got a glimpse of everything the team is capable of. Fantastic defense, great offense. We're going to need it all Monday night. The Browns have Nick Chubb. I don't buy into the fact that they're self-destructing, that the locker room is a distraction. We've run into teams like that so many times, and they come back. They're healthy. They've got a fantastic offensive line. We won't be without a guy who I think is our most important player on defense, TJ Reader. So it's going to be a grind. It is not going to be easy, but I think Joe Burrow takes us up there. I think Jonah Williams is going to have a fantastic game at left tackle, keeping the heat off of him. And the guys find a way to bring back the W against the Lake Erie Elves. So, again, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And the Houday, and I will pass it off to tonight's hero.
You're going the wrong way. You went the wrong way.
Think about the show tonight.
It went around the world. Remember?
I was already. And you went the wrong way.
Force a habit.
It's all good. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the show. Obviously, the one thing that, and Mark and Tom, we can probably vouch for this, being a part of this tailgate experience with all the work that Tony does and Bengal Jim does. We're a very small part of what you guys do, but this speaks so much volume. $63,984, not even at the bye week yet. And, one thing I'm going to say, this isn't like a shots fired thing. I'm not looking to cause any problems, but when a team gets the national exposure, goes to the Super Bowl like we have, playing as well as we are with the number one draft pick, Joe Burrow, a lot of people come out and try to latch onto that and do things, say they're doing it for the good of the community and the good for the charity. I don't see receipts. We show receipts. Every time we do something as a collective, we put it out there for the public to see. We show you the donation slips. We show you the bank transfers, the e-transfers. We get approached all the time to do stuff for money, to do stuff, to use our audience for, exposure and whatever. The only thing we ever ask for, donations. We want donations. We want to all go to charity. And when seeing stuff like this, just makes me really happy to be part of this. And Tony and everyone for the work you guys do. This is absolutely incredible. I think we're going to smash that $75,000 goal. And I think next season that the starting goal for next season is going to be 100,000 plus. I think we're going to smash that too. So anyway, Houday, guys, thanks for watching. Next week going to be our fan episode. You guys are our guests. So stay tuned for more info. We're going to post a link and looking forward to having you guys on screen next week.
Houday.
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 You guys want to call Jimmy and ask him to end the show, or you want me to end it?
Go ahead.
Okay.